Good morning, everyone, and happy Sunday. I pray that your Sunday is off to a peaceful start. Sonia Sales here. For those of you who know me, you really don't need no introduction by me, especially because this message is a little bit different in nature. I wasn't planning on recording anything, and usually I don't really post on my page on Sundays. However, I really believe in my hearts of hearts that at least one person needs to hear this message. And so, for many of you who know me, you know that I am a woman of faith, so no explanation is needed. You know me by way of spirit. But I know there are many individuals on my page, especially because my page is focused more towards business, creating brand awareness, helping people start online businesses, helping people overcome their life challenges to be empowered. And so they're not used to me really posting a lot of things that's spiritual in nature. But like I said, I am a woman of faith unashamedly. I believe in God, Jesus Christ, Father. I don't need to carry any title. Like I said, for those of you who know me, you know me by way of spirit. I don't play, I come to slay. Whether it's slaying your mindset in the natural or whether it's slaying them demons in the spirit. So please, don't look at me and think like, oh, ain't much to her. Believe me, I'm packing. So with that being said, I wasn't even planning on recording this video. And literally, I'm up here doing laundry and everything. And I'm like, oh, I need to go to the store before it gets crowded. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon me and dropped this on me. And from my belly, I knew that there were at least one person. But I know by way of spirit, there are several people. Even if you don't comment, even if you don't like, I know by way of spirit that there will be several people that will watch this and say, oh my gosh, I needed this. This was confirmation for me. Now, this message right here is not for people who, are lukewarm. It's not for people who, feel as though, I only believe in God when I need a miracle and using him, as an ATM and trying to pimp him out. It's nothing like that. These are for the individuals, who, yes, may be flawed, but they have a heart that's after God's own heart. They have been truly, in the race, and trying to get this right, for the kingdom. But they feel as though they know they should be moving forward. And at the same time, they don't see very much momentum right now. They feel as though like, okay, Lord, I'm meeting resistance, so to speak. And they have been literally praying and warring in the spirit until like they're exhausted. And they're like, I know it's the devil. I know it's the enemy and everything. And they sitting up here and they decreeing and declaring and they're doing everything they know how to do or they think they know how to do in this season with little results, And I'm here to tell you what I heard the Spirit of the Lord share with me. And he said, it is not the enemy in this season, okay? It is not the enemy in this season. It is the I am. It is me who has placed resistance in their life to get their attention. Okay, so let that sink in. You have been, for a minute, the Lord has shared with some of you all to do things. That you supposed to have been done in past seasons. Whether it was, starting to write chapters of your book, whether it was, investing, whether the Lord was giving you strategies to multiply your money, whether the Lord was instructing you to move to a new location, whether the Lord was instructing you to trust him for a season and totally leave your job. The Lord has been, maybe it was even the Lord saying, hey, you need to start that business, but your mindset, the limited mindset is like, Lord, I believe you. But Lord, in order for me to do this, I need for you to, and then you start filling in the blanks. Well, I need for you to provide the resources for me. And I need all of this before I even step out on faith. So you kept looking at what you didn't have, and you didn't move forward in the things of the Lord. So then seasons shifted. And it's like, okay, this is this person's do-over season. And you started with great momentum, and then something distracted you. Okay? And then you found yourself in that same cycle, in that same pattern. And you're like, Lord, why is it that the enemy keep on, fighting me in this area? Why is the enemy keep on putting up resistance and stuff? Lord, I've prayed, I've fasted, and I'm not understanding any of this. And it's because it is not the enemy. It is the Lord that is creating the resistance, okay, to get your attention. Because as humans, I don't know what it is. We can have the perfect blueprint in life, okay? He has given us plenty of examples in his word. But for some reason, it seems like we have to go through life's university before we can just get it, okay? It has to be where we face some kind of crisis, our back is up against the wall, and then we come out swinging, So the Lord is trying to get your attention and say like, hey, you are at a crossroads right now. Either you're going to trust me when you can't trace me. Either you're going to follow me, even if it's by blind faith. But to get to your next level, not only spiritually, but in the natural, you're going to have to move forward. You're going to have to move forward, even if you don't understand everything. See, when the Lord gives us a great vision, right? He doesn't tell us everything. Because, honey, if he told us the hell that we had to walk through, if he told us the work that we had to do to get to that expected end, we wouldn't do it. We'd be like, man, this is too much because of our finite mind. That's why I understand why the battle is really in a lot of people's mind. The enemy don't have to do nothing. He can just sit back, eat his popcorn, okay, and be like, I'm just going to sit up here and watch them exhaust themselves mentally. Then I'll sit up here and send one of my low-level imps because I don't have time for that. See, a lot of times you think it's Satan himself, but I hate to tell you, but it's not. Satan himself doesn't just come after just anyone. Yes, he is a thief, but a lot of times he sends his little imps, the little generals, people that's in the army of darkness, to come after you. Okay. So with that being said, the Lord showed me that many of his people have procrastinated, and that has grieved his heart because he knows the plans that he has for you. He truly has hope and a future for you, great things in store. And he needs more than just faith. He needs movement. He needs you to move by faith. Stop praying and saying, Lord, when you do this, that's when I'll do this. Let me tell you something. Nothing started moving in my life until I started moving by blind faith. And some of the things that not only he shared with me, but some things that's manifesting as we speak, I can't even share with you right now. But I will say, keep watching. Keep watching. Some of y'all are allowing y'all past to keep you locked in your mind. You anointed. I mean, you can speak in tongues. You can prophesy. You can lay hands on the sick. You can heal folks. You can do all of that. And yeah, you looking at your situation and like, wait a minute. I was in this same place 5 years ago. How is it me with all this anointing and doing all this stuff, this good works, and nothing is moving for me the way it should? Stop focusing on them gifts. Stop focusing on how anointed you are and how you can pray a house down and sing people to tears. I'm telling you. Lord, you need to be asking, Lord, what is it that you want me to do in this season? And when the Lord shows you the vision going to be bigger than what you can even comprehend, you say, okay, Lord. Now it's just me and you talking, Lord. Now in the natural, I only have this. But Lord, your word says that you own a cattle of 1,000 hills. Your word tells me that I am blessed, that I am the head. Lord, I'm supposed to be experiencing the overflow. So Lord, I'm on board with what you want me to do. But Lord, show me what's in my hands. Show me what I can take, the little that I have, the little oil that I have, the little grain, the little crumbs I have. Show me how to use that to plant those seeds and multiply it. And it may be for a season. Let's say if you called a business that you're like, man, Lord, you showed me that I'm going to be on these platforms and on stage. But Lord, in this season, I don't got nothing. The Lord may say for a season for you just to operate with free resources. You're not investing like nothing but your time. And you may just have to invest in free resources instead of doing what all the influencers telling you to do and to invest hundreds upon hundreds, of dollars you don't even have. The Lord will give you wisdom in everything. But you need to stop fighting God and the plans He has for your life. Distractions, procrastination are two things that if you don't get it right in 2025, you will lose ground. You will look in 2026 and say, nothing has moved for me. And I'm here to tell you, and take it from me, being from a small town, and I know that there's plenty of people that will see this, even if they don't comment, they will see this. That's from my hometown. And I'm telling you that there are some pros and cons for living in a small town. One thing is, I love that everyone is hospitable for the most part. Like when I say that, that means that you can still find people who they may know your parents, or you may see them in the grocery store and they'll say hello or they'll hug you. And I've lived in the city before, and you don't always get that. And that's one thing that people would compliment me on. They're like, you must be from Texas, or one time somebody said Oklahoma, and I was like, yeah, I'm from Texas. It was like, man, I could tell by your hospitality. They wasn't used to the friendliness and just people just saying, well, how are you doing? And really want to know how you're doing, And so I like that aspect. But the other aspect is that when you are in a small town and you make poor choices and everything, it's easy for you to become the next juicy story. People love running to social media and blasting you and those type of things. You feel as though everyone knows your business, so to speak. And sometimes you may feel like if you're not part of the clique, you don't get the recognition and everything. It may be where you've had a colorful past. Okay, your past is as colorful as a box of crayons, honey. Forget Skittles. And now you're on that right path with the Lord. And yet you haven't broke free in your mind, so to speak, when it comes to putting yourself out there more, because you're like, oh man, I'm going through something right now and everything. I put myself out there and this stuff, and the people going. I'm telling you, you're gonna have to drown out that noise in your head, because that's a distraction. You're gonna have to stop focusing on what the people may say and focus on what God is saying to you to do. Let Him prepare your table in the presence of your enemy. Let them stay locked in their mind, focusing on your flaws of the past. Okay? Because when you start being about your Father's business for real, it ain't about you trying to look the part. Okay? I told the Lord a long time ago, I said, Lord, I'm on board with what you want me to do. Even when I make my poor choices and everything. Even when people, bring up my past. Even when I have to be persecuted for a season and stay quiet. Even when people try to throw that past at me and try to put the spirit of shame or guilt upon me, like, I'm still going to follow you regardless. Because I know enough of the word. I ain't never go to no theologian school or nothing like that. But I know enough of the word to what God will say about me and what God's word says about me. And so I rather let him do the elevation of me as it pertains to my future. So turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to what the enemy is trying to hold against you about your past. And I know this is for someone. You have something so great in you. And the Lord want to use you so mightily, but you're sitting up here saying, who, me? Me, the one that used to run the streets? You know, the one that used to be sitting up here doing drugs, shooting it up? What, me, the troublemaker? Me, the one that served jail time? Me that got a charge for assault? Me, the one that everybody knew was messy in school? Me, the one they called a hoe? Yeah, I said a whore. I'm not sitting up here and sugarcoating and playing with y'all because we don't have time to be playing. That's the problem now with the church. Let me just put that out there. He showed me plenty of times that's what's wrong with the church. You played a part. And that's why most of the time the church institution is looking like a fool to the world. The world doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. It's the church institution and the people that can't get it right. You're so focused on the anointing and the talent. But where's the real power? Because God's power creates change, baby. Permanent change. It's the reason why he told Joshua to be strong and courageous. You're going to have to be strong and courageous in this season. As I'm talking, really, because I don't know what I'm saying for the most part. I mean, I'm just recording. There's no do-over. But what I'm saying is, listen to the words, even if it's one word. That one word that is being spoken through me can be very profound. Take it for someone who has been hurt by the church, but also have hurt people in the church. Take it for someone who had to walk through the valley of the shadow of death, being persecuted by church folks. The same church people that had my back, y'all, that knew about my flaws. You know, the same people that I would go, especially when I was in my first marriage. Let me tell you something. By the time the God gets through with me, y'all gonna know all my business. Because let me tell you something. Your testimony, when you hear people say, oh, you overcome by your testimony, that's just not something cute to say. It keeps the enemy off your back. Who gonna use what against you? Who can come back when God blows you up and blackmail you? They can't do all that. They won't have nothing on you. I love it when every now and then the enemy will operate through somebody that was close to me. I can say was, because the Lord will quickly remove you out of my life. Okay? And they would throw something up in my past, and y'all, it would be like from way back then. And I'm like, that's all y'all got on me? Like, that's all you got on me? And then all of a sudden, I wouldn't even get mad. It got to a point where I wouldn't even get mad. I was like, I feel good, because if that's the only thing that a low-level imp can whisper in their ear to hold against me from 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 20 years ago, wow, that means that I really have been transformed into a new creature. That my light really is shining. That even before a low-level imp, I'm blameless. Because if I wasn't found blameless, then what? You'll have something like concrete and true on me right now. But you throwing up something way back then. I'm like, that's all you have? So I'm telling you, focus on your focus. And your focus should be on the race that God has set for you to run. Y'all may see me out here with podcasts and everything and see me out here creating videos and all this other stuff. Let me tell you something. As confident as I am uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable in this season because anybody who knows me know I'm a private person, to the point where you can see me in public and you be like, Sonya, you still here in this small town? You must just stay inside the house, because I don't never see you. And I say the same thing. I keep a low profile. I keep my circle the size of a dot on purpose. Because it came a point in my life where I had to realize that the Lord really set me apart. For years trying to fit in with the crowd and stuff and and all this other stuff, wondering why people didn't like me. People were saying that, you know, I was stuck up and stuff. And I'm like, I'm the most humble person that I know. Literally. I will help you in every way I can. You know, you come to me with your issues, it's not on no Facebook or on social media platform. It's confidential. Because that's the way I want people to treat me. And unless the Lord say seek godly counsel or something like that, I'm not out there gossiping and sharing people's business, because I didn't like that when people was doing it to me. But I'm telling you, the upside of being a part of a small town, and I don't know why the Lord has me talking to some people from my hometown, but the upside of being in a small town, even though, you know, you feel like people may be in your business and they holding your past and stuff against you, y'all, it's creating tough skin. It's creating tough skin. It's allowing God to take his chisel and shape and mold you and build your character. Because where God is taking you, your mindset has to be conditioned. Where God is taking you, your heart has to be conditioned. Your emotions has to be tamed. He can't be having you go before nations and stuff and sitting with multi-billionaires and millionaires and sitting before, you know, people of influence. Or you in a business deal and the business deal didn't go through, and then you sitting up here jump and fly. Oh, you gonna sit up here and sign on the paper and stuff? Cause I sit up here, you know how long I was working on that PowerPoint deck? You know how long? See, no. So I bless God for the poor choices that I made, because it taught me in the end how to grow up. I bless God, even though my first marriage put me through hell, y'all. And like I said, y'all been asking, some of y'all have asked me in private, when you coming out with your next book. I will be coming out with an empowerment book. I started this book more than 10 years ago. And I remember saying, Lord, I ran across the manuscript a few years ago, the rough draft. And I said, Lord, why I never finished this book? He said, because you're writing the final chapter. And I was like, oh, okay. But I had never picked up a pen to write the final chapter. It was only recently that I was like, oh, you say because I'm writing the final chapter. Writing mean I'm living out the final chapter. So see, that last part of the book, that final chapter of how the Lord desires for me to bring this book forth, it has to do with my first marriage. Because many people has held that first marriage over my head, and I'm just being real, because of the weight and the baggage that was attached to it. Never knowing the hell that I walked through in that marriage, and I was fortunate enough to come out of it. Okay? But they rather not sit up here and say, well, look at what God did to bring her out. They rather just hold back what's attached to that first marriage over my head. But I'm telling you, it's going to be in the book. You know, and that book is more focused towards the empowerment part of my business, as the Lord elevates me as an empowerment speaker to help us free people, but especially women, to really help free them, especially from mental and verbal abuse, and for them to truly see their worth. When y'all look at me and y'all see my picture or whatever, and y'all see a crown, you know, when y'all look at my logo and it's a crown, I didn't just choose that. This is what the Lord instructed for me to do, to create a logo with a woman wearing a crown. And it's subliminal messages in that logo. Only God could have done that. But when I look at that logo, when I look at my picture and I'm wearing that crown, it's steady reminding me to fix my crown. Don't let nobody tell me who I am, because I've done the inner working to know who I am. And as the Lord continues to show me more, and I'm evolving and becoming that woman he created me to be, I would never be sold on anything less. So people can call me stuck up. They can say, oh, you forgot about the little people. Whenever the Lord continues to elevate me, I don't care what they say. I'm going to continue to follow the Lord, because that's my place of peace. And I'm not holding a place for nobody in my life that the Lord says doesn't belong. That's another thing the Lord is showing me. That many of you, the reason why you're not moving forward is because of what's attached to you. You know, you think it's cute, you know, say, oh, yeah, I'm a ride or die. and everything. I'm down for whatever. Okay, keep being down for whatever. And you're going to stay down in whatever. And you're going to look up and your life would have passed you by. Okay? Sometimes you have to realize that it's okay for people to grow apart. It doesn't always have to be drama, anything that's behind it. Sometimes people just grow apart. And a lot of times when one person, especially when you're following the Lord, and that other person is like, that's not my thing. As the Lord continues, you continue to deepen your relationship with the Lord and experience true intimacy, you'll just look up and it's like, y'all grown apart. That season is up. And then when that person try to come back in and stuff, they think you acting funny, but it's not that you acting funny. And I had to learn this the hard way. For a long time, I was being loyal to things that wasn't loyal to me. And I had to realize that the one thing that I need to be loyal to is the Lord. And then the Lord will put the players in proper position for me. So I know who's in my outer courts, my inner courts, my sacred courts, my holies of holies. Only the Lord is in my holies of holies. But I have my sacred circle. I have my inner circle. I have my outer circle. And I'm going to love the people I run into. They probably don't even know they're in my outer circle. They may call me sister, friend, whatever they want to call me. And they're in my outer circle and I still love on them because I don't have anything against them. I didn't put them in my outer circle. They could be cool or whatever. It's plenty of times I've tried to hang out with people and schedule lunches and stuff and it just didn't happen. And it was years ago and I was like, Lord, what's happening? I keep on trying to schedule stuff and hook up with people from my past just because. Not that I'm trying to remember how it was back then, but I never had a problem with those people. I was like, hey, they're good people. I'm a good person. We get along. What's the problem? Especially if he shows me something about them, and I'm like, oh, I would love to, help them grow in that area. And the Lord like, no, no, it's nothing. You have to stay focused on where I'm taking you because sometimes the Lord will separate you. Sometimes it's for a season, sometimes it's for a lifetime. But you have to shift your way of thinking and say, what if the Lord is elevating me so that I can come back and help others that's in captivity? Captivity on the job, captivity in their mindset. Whatever the case may be. You can't free others if you locked yourself, bound yourself. So somebody got to break free. If I recall my Bible stories, and I could be wrong, and you little Bible thumpers, y'all better not even come to my page and everything with all that stuff. I don't get into religious wars. It is not my job to sit up here and try to prove anything. The Bible proves it all, okay? Because of my faith, I believe that. I'm not going to sit up here and get all in flesh and get all hot and woo, whatever. Lord, what you want me to do with this? Lord, don't want me to speak on it? Y'all can say whatever, and I will not speak. People have called me every name in the book, and I will not speak until the season that the Lord has instructed for me to speak, because I understand this. I understand the fire that God has placed in my mouth, okay? And when you understand who you are in Him, you know the words can be very dangerous. And I remember I used to cut people in the natural. And so I try to be very careful with my words, but don't get it twisted. I'm still flawed, y'all. And I often tell people, my birth name is sales, right? It's a sales thing. And so don't think that I don't have fighter's blood in me just because, I sit here and I'm kind and stuff. Don't ever take somebody's kindness for weakness. Don't think that a person is so holy, holier than thou, that they're no earthly good. I tell you these days, you better be prepared and know how to fight in the spirit. And yet you better know how to defend yourself in the natural, because them demons be doing jumping jacks, just like Eminem said. Now, with that being said, I want to encourage you to stop fighting the Lord concerning your calling. Okay? Please drown out the noise, drown out the distractions, because you will begin to see how quickly you gain momentum in the area that you feel as though you've been stuck in. But I'm telling you, it's not the enemy fighting you hard like that. It's you fighting God's plans for your life. And a lot of it has to do with procrastination and the wrong mindset. Some of y'all are worrying yourself in a frenzy. I mean, literally, anxiety is upon you. Some of y'all have placed yourself out there, especially in business. The Lord is showing me this. Y'all have placed yourself out there in business, and then y'all sitting up here and y'all looking at the numbers and y'all looking at the likes and y'all like, oh my gosh, nobody is investing yet. You know, what am I doing wrong? Not trusting the Lord. Okay? It's amazing how the Lord will continue to test us and test us and test us and test us concerning our faithfulness before he just opened up the floodgates, so to speak, and pour you out blessings upon blessings upon blessings. He have to know that he can trust you with everything. That you're not just going to forget about him once you feel as though you have arrived. See, because we'll call upon the Lord all the time when we're desperate, when we don't have nothing. But the real test is when the Lord starts blessing you in abundance. So he'll give you a little test. Okay, well, he or she, they followed me in this area. Okay, they placed themselves out there in business. Okay, let's see if they're going to continue to follow me if the money don't come right away. Let's see if they're going to continue to follow me if they don't get no likes. Let's see if they're going to be faithful. I've given them instructions. I've given them instructions to do this. But will they continue to do it if it's crickets to the world? Let me tell you something. It was a few years ago, the Lord instructed me to offer like some free coaching strategies. And I was like, okay, Lord, I'm on board. And, you know, I had people that say they were going to attend, you know, and everything. And it came time for like the mini training and no one was there. I said, okay, Lord. I said, no one showed up. I said, but I'm going to continue to go forth as if it's 200 people, 1,000 people that have attended. And I did that. Because my focus wasn't on, of course you want people to show up, but my focus was on what I was instructed to do. I know I've been called to business. I know that's my realm of influence. I know that's what I'm supposed to be walking in. And that's just one area. But I know it, like no one can tell me anything. So I'm going to continue to run this business race to fruition. Because I understand that to get to the manifested promise is in layers. The first layer is the Lord is going to give you the promise, the vision. It may come by the way of prophet, you know, he's going to speak to it some way to you. And then in the middle, you're going to have the problems, the distractions, the resistance. And that part a lot of times come from the enemy and flesh, us getting in the way. And then the last part often is the manifested promise, okay? And so while you're waiting on the manifested promise, you're on the right path, but you're not like seeing the full manifestation of it. You're like, Lord, you told me to, I keep saying business because a lot of you are called to the business arena and you're not walking fully in it. Lord, you told me to birth this out. I birthed this thing out, okay? I'm gonna say, I know quite a few people that have candle businesses. I've birthed this candle business out. You showed me that I would make a minimum of, I'm gonna say $5,000 a month concerning this candle business. And yet I haven't had no sales. I come back to you, Lord, and you tell me, give me a marketing strategy. I work that strategy. I haven't made no sales. I keep coming back to you, Lord, and now I'm fasting, I'm praying, and I've offered my business back to you so you can give it back to me, and I've done all these things, Lord, and still nothing. But now it's just one sale because the Lord could be testing your faithfulness. How are you going to run this race? Are you going to run this race complaining and moaning and groaning the entire time? Or are you going to count it all joy regardless of how it turns out? So with that being said, I really pray that something I said, something that was spoken through me by Holy Spirit and by just me operating in the spirit of transparency have blessed you, because I can't even tell you what I've said. I just know that when this happens, I'm just free flowing, and I know that someone needs to hear it. So remember, it is God that has placed resistance before you in this season so that he can get your attention, so that you can finally, your back can be up against the wall, so you can finally come out that corner swinging with full steam ahead, so that he can bless you in abundance, so that your latter can be greater, and so that this time next year, you will be in a better place. So if this has resonated with you, please, even if you just DM me, let me know, because we as people of God, we need that confirmation as well, even when we know it's the Lord. Y'all be blessed.